In the past month of my channel, I've been really trying to be more positive and being very neutral just to stay out of any, the drama stuff. Because if you know my channel's history, there were some times where my channel wasn't really in a good spot. I was making more negative types of videos, but I decided to switch it around. And, things have been going good and I've been enjoying, the positivity and everything. But recently, with this market and just people, just hearing what people have to say about certain things, it's obvious a lot of people don't understand supply and demand in collectibles and just how stuff works. And, I'm trying to be neutral, but it's hard to be neutral when people just say the most outrageous things and just don't understand simple supply and demand in collectibles. Like, people have this idea that these popular products, right, like Prismatic Evolutions, why is it over MSRP before being released? Why is this the way? All the evil scalpers and everything. You can keep blaming the evil scalpers and investors, whatever, but just the truth is there's a lot of demand for the set. Regardless of all the scalpers and evil people, there's a lot of general demand from just collectors too, and I've talked about this. And with that being in place, how can you expect there to be no increase of price with products like Prismatic Evolutions? How you really expect that to not happen? Like, for it to not increase? Like, guys, it's supply and demand. And in collectibles, it's not like normal supply and demand where, as prices go up, supply increases and demand decreases. With collectibles, it's usually the opposite where when prices increase, more people want them. We see that with, Fusion Strike, Lost Origin, Chilling Reign, all these boxes. Everybody now buy them at 400 when they were 200 like a few months ago. Like, in collectibles, when things go up in price, people want them more. And even with Prismatic, we're sort of seeing that. Yes, some people are upset about it, but I mean, a lot of people are buying into those prices. Now, in collectibles, especially with Pokemon, when these prices go up for these products, why is that the case? Why do some of these products take off, like Prismatic, or some of these other sets that we've seen in the past take off? Why is that the case? Well, part of it has to do with just the value of the product, what's inside of the product. For example, Evolving Skies, right? Evolving Skies, why is this a now $1,400 booster box? Why is it? Because the cards inside it are expensive. You can see here Evolving Skies as a $1,400 plus card and multiple cards above $100. That's why this box is $1,400. Why Surging Sparks? Why is it this expensive this early on? It doesn't make any sense. It's only a month old. It shouldn't be this expensive. Why is it $250? Because of the prices of the cards inside the set. We have a card, Pikachu here, that's about $500. Lanius is $250, Milotic's above $100, Pikachu's above $100, and there's multiple other cards that are pretty expensive in the set. $151. This set is a little bit over a year old. Elite Trainer boxes are about $150. It's crazy that Prismatic's basically at its as expensive as $151. But why is $151 expensive? Because it has expensive cards. They're very sought after. Now, why are some sets not very expensive? They've had time to grow, and even at release, these weren't very expensive. Why was that the case? Why is Scarlet Violet base? I know it's only 140. I know I'm just saying that, but why is it only 140 compared to like Surging Sparks? Because of the cards in the set, they're not very expensive. There's not a $500 card in the set, so it shouldn't be, a $200 booster box. It makes sense that it's cheaper than Surging Sparks because the price of the cards inside the set. Shrouded Fable. Why is Shrouded Fable cheap? Why does nobody want it? Why is there just so much of it and it's easy to get? Why is it only $40 in the Elite Trainer box and you can find it some places for $30? Because demand. Demand isn't really here for the set. Therefore, the prices aren't very expensive. It's just how it is. Cards aren't expensive because not a lot of demand. Products are cheap because not a lot of demand. It's simple. So, when you have a product like Prismatic Evolutions that everybody's getting angry over because it's too expensive or whatever, you gotta just understand the basic, this is just basic economics. And like I said, it's not traditional, supply and demand where, when things get more expensive, there's not as much demand and supply goes up. It's not like that for collectibles with Pokemon. It's the opposite. But people gotta understand that in this whole hobby. Like, with Prismatic being this expensive, why is it this expensive? It's because of demand. And part of that also, this going this expensive, why is it also going this expensive? Because the expected value of the cards seem to be very high. We're even seeing recently with these whatnot streamers, these people getting these products early and opening up, looks like pull rates are very hard. It looks that way. It doesn't look like Crown Zenith like some people were speculating, and I even mentioned it before. It doesn't seem to be that way. And with these hard pull rates, and what we're even seeing from the Japanese side, and guys, the Japanese side, Terrestrial Festival, there is guaranteed hits. And we're seeing $300 cards, multiple $300 cards. 151 doesn't even have a $300 card. There's multiple like $300 cards here and very expensive cards here. And I bet you these are going to be more expensive on the English side because, like I said, Japanese side, guaranteed pull rates, plus quality's a lot better with the cards. So there's definitely going to be, the PSA stuff going on with the Prismatic Evolutions cards. So when you have a set in products that are this expensive, why is that the case? It's because of the value in the set. And why are the cards this valuable in the set? Why is that the case? Because of demand and supply. Like, it's very simple stuff. And I feel like a lot of people, I know the wholesome collectors, they have a hard time understanding this because you got to take one way or the other. You have a cheap product that is widely available and that nobody wants. And then the cards are also cheap. We see that with Shroud of Fable. Or you have a set where the products are very expensive, but the cards are also very expensive. So things go hand in hand. You can't have a cheap product like Prismatic Evolutions and the cards would be super expensive. That's not how this works. Because if that was the case where products were super cheap and the cards inside were super expensive, everybody would be opening up the products to make money. But that's not how this thing works. Like, I'm so surprised people have a hard time understanding this. I know general collectors and stuff, they don't care about value, right? They don't care about, their cards being worth anything. They don't care if it's a penny, apparently, right? But it makes sense why things are so expensive. People say this is overinflated and overhyped. Guys, this is just the market price. Yes, are things more expensive than I think they probably should be? Probably, because we've never seen this before. But as of right now with the market, this is what people are agreeing on. And I know these are pre-order prices, and when the set actually gets releases, yes, we may see some prices dip a little bit. But based on the demand we're seeing for this set, it doesn't look like, if anything, it's going to really drop much. And people just got to understand this simple just concept of supply and demand in Pokemon, where when there's a lot of demand, just prices go up for everything. It just all makes sense. And when you really think about it this way, maybe you'll change your mind about this whole just getting mad about just things being so expensive. Why is it the case? Because it's just supply and demand. And I get people that don't have money for this stuff. It sucks. Like, I understand. You don't want to pay triple MSRP for Elite Trainer Box. I can't even say that with a straight face, acting like it's normal. It's not. But it's just how it is right now with the amount of demand and just not enough supply. And we're going to see how expensive the cards are in this set. And we're going to really see, where the products go. Because let's say, on the Japanese side, the Master Ball Umbreon is like $330. It's been pretty strong staying here at $330. On the English side, honestly, I wouldn't be super surprised if this was like $500. Based on the Japanese side being $330, I wouldn't be surprised if any of these cards, you add a few $100 on top of them on the English side. I wouldn't be surprised. So when you have a card that's $500, right? And you have an Elite Trainer Box that's $150. And you have multiple cards that are probably, like I said, going to be $500. When you think about it that way, it sort of makes more sense that way. Because, like I said, you can't expect to have a product be super cheap. Like, let's say this was available for MSRP. You can't expect this to be $50 and pull a $500 card. Like, that's not really how this works. So hopefully this video kind of maybe more in depth, like maybe explain things better about supply and demand, because a lot of people, especially the collecting people, have a hard time understanding that. And I know a lot of people don't like, this whole investing space, especially now as it's really being highlighted. If you go to any sort of collecting channel or collecting, subreddit of Pokemon, people are upset of the scalpers and everything. And that's another thing, is like, it's really hard to gauge, right? How many scalpers or whatever are really in the percentage of this market, and how many of those scalpers, I'm definitely thinking they're having an influence. But to say that everybody in this whole market and these prices are 100% because of scalpers, it's really hard to prove that. Because I just see so many people just saying scalpers. Yeah, there are scalpers. I'm not disagreeing with that fact. But people that are thinking that's the only reason why these prices are the way it is, I think people, there's no evidence of that. There's evidence that it's happening, but there's not evidence that that's the causation of $150 Prismatic Evolutions Elite Trainer boxes. Yeah, it's a part of it. But I'm thinking even without this whole scalping problem, with just the general demand from collectors, this was going to go up above MSRP before pre-orders, in my opinion, I think without the scalpers. And just people, and just collectors knowing the amount of demand for the set, there's no way you can't tell me that collectors were just going to order one or two Elite Trainer boxes or just one of each product to open up. I like, I don't know. I just feel like people just blame scalpers so much about everything that's going on, but they don't see themselves that they're the ones causing this demand. And I've talked about this before. So, like I said, hopefully this video was more neutral. I know, I said I try to make videos that are more positive and neutral, but it's hard to sometimes when it's just very basic stuff that people don't understand in this whole space. And hopefully I done like a decent job explaining it in this video, because just a lot of people out there in collectors, they don't understand why prices are like this. It's not real. It shouldn't be like this. It's just how it works. And I feel like that's why a lot of people in the space get mad, is because they don't understand like basic supply and demand and economics. Like, it's just how it works, guys. And you can tell Pokemon to print everything into the ground. It's not going to happen. We haven't seen it happen in Scarlet and Violet. And I don't think they can. Like, the whole reprint thing is like a meme at this point, because we're not seeing any, and we're seeing the amount of demand for these new sets and everything coming up. You guys really think they can print everything into the ground? Maybe they can pick a couple of sets, like Surging, Prismatic, to print to the ground. They can do that if they want. But it just seems like Pokemon isn't in that mindset. I think they're going to reprint stuff, but not into the ground like people really think. So that's my talk about this whole supply and demand thing. Hopefully you guys actually understood what I said, because sometimes when I make these videos, people have a hard time comprehending these concepts. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.